Hey, how's it going? As always, it is a Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time here from Danbury, Connecticut. It is Nate Mumford, Director of Sales Engineering. As always, hope you and your friends and family are healthy and safe and all of that good stuff. And yes, the holiday season is right around the corner. And so last week we talked about holiday programming with G Selector. And I thought, why not talk about holiday programming, but this time with Zetta? That's right. Of course, I am here. So if you want to go and comment or get your questions in, you can do that. You can always email us live at rcsworks.com, or you can also direct message us and all of that good stuff. Hopefully, you know how it is by now. We are here to help. Let me know, and I can go and answer all those comments and questions. Speaking of which, let me load up my video here so I can see. Good morning, V. Thank you for checking in as well. So a couple housekeeping things as always. If you're working from home, we want to see your photos. We love them so far. They are hysterical. I say hysterical, but I just love seeing everybody working from home with maintaining their efficiency. So if you got any of those photos, let us know. We'll send you a goodie bag and all of that good stuff. Don't forget about Zetta cloud-based disaster recovery. Just because it's the holidays doesn't mean that those cryptoware hackers have decided to take a vacation too. So great way to back up all of your assets. Remember, audio, metadata, logs, SQL backups, all sent to AWS in the cloud, and of course, securely on there following Amazon Web Services best practices and securities, all that good stuff. Looking for beta users, a lot of great beta users from our previous videos. Again, we love it. So if you have any questions, you want to be a beta user, see the latest and greatest, let me know, comment, direct message us, all of that good stuff. Again, we have Zetta 5.20.1 coming down the pipeline very shortly. And then we have, of course, G Selector 4.9.0 with those flex clocks. Remember that? You can schedule anything based on essentially by the minute or by, let's just say, extreme 24 hours. For example, one clock could be a minute, one clock could be 24 hours. Very cool stuff. Let's dive right into it. We are talking about holiday programming using Zetta. So remember, in the G Selector side of things, G Selector is the brains, Zetta is the brawn. So we're either curating a playlist from G Selector or we're essentially curating a playlist on the Zetta side. I would say this: if you're looking about creating, let's say, an overall show that involves some specific voice tracks. Now, if you remember the G Selector video, we talked about creating browse lists and themes and all of that good stuff. If you want to have a specific asset, you could always go and record it as an asset that's being called for in G Selector, or we can talk about it in regards to a voice track in Zetta. Right? Kind of tomato, same process, just different piece of software. There's no right or wrong way for you to do this. It's about your workflow. If you're comfortable kind of seeing the songs, curating it in Zetta, and then voice tracking and maintaining those voice tracks, then yes, you would probably want to utilize Zetta. If you want to maintain the history of the songs and you're scheduling around those songs, then you might want to do it inside of G Selector, and then play it out in Zetta. If you've got any questions, what's the best practice for you? Don't hesitate to again, comment, text me, email, all that good stuff. Patrick, thank you for checking in. We appreciate it. And let's just dive right into it. I thought for kind of, as you know, I talk a lot about these shows and mini logs. I thought I would showcase one thing I have not talked about yet in any of these RCS lives, and that is third-party integration. Just going to stop this for right now just because I don't want to get distracted by the ongoing progress bar here. So configuration. You have some type of third-party audio editor. That could be Pro Tools. It could be Adobe Audition. It could be whatever you want it to be. It could be Audacity if you want it to be. I will say, though, I'm not trying to not give love to Zetta's multi-track editor because that's not the case. Remember, this is a built-in tool that you're not paying for. It's part of the Zetta experience, right? So I call this an intermediate Adobe Audition, intermediate Pro Tools. If you're doing record skips and flange and all those crazy effects, guess what? That's what Pro Tools and Audition does. That's their thing. If you're looking to do some plugins, you're looking to edit audio, you're looking to combine and separate audio and record audio, you can do all that inside of Zetta's multi-track editor. It's a very, very powerful tool. I can right-click and add multiple tracks. I have the recording devices here. I can set multiple recording devices. I can drag and drop audio inside and outside of the Zetta editor. Again, just to show you here, I think I have interviews. Yep. You can see here, here's just a WAV file. I can go in here and right click and do split, and I can move this up and down. Of course, you can do that here in the Zetta multi-track editor. So definitely don't take this as the Zetta multi-track editor is not as good as Adobe Audition. You're paying for Audition, right? You're getting all those bells and whistles with Audition because that's what it specializes in. The Zetta multi-track editor is built in. It's phenomenal. But I just want to point out, I understand the difference between these two. Good morning. I'm going to say DJ. Good morning, DJ. How's that? Yes. So with that being said, I am not going to save my work here. You'll notice that if I want to edit something, I now have the edit media function. I have a multi-track editor, a single track editor, which is the same exact thing as the multi-track editor. It just has, wink, wink, one track. And then I have my Adobe Audition connected to my Zetta. Now, the way to configure that, it's actually pretty simple. Configuration and computers. This is computer specific because obviously if I am a server, if I'm a Zetta server in the rack room and I don't have Adobe Audition installed on it, how can Zetta know that it can see that particular third-party external editor, right? So I have my one machine here, very simple, very straightforward, but you essentially would go find the machine that we're talking about, a production machine or an on-air machine, and we go to this external editors tab right here. And I'll make this nice and big for everybody. A little tip, don't forget, if you're moving things around, right? If I hit the control, it's not going to go and have the docking option. It's going to move that around. So I have here external editors. I went to the little plus. I typed in the name and the description. This is you. It's what you display. So I just call it Adobe Audition. I'm straightforward, but this could be Pro Tools or whatever you want it to be. And essentially we just find the program file. That's all we do here. Just find the program file. Any arguments you have there, required formats. If you want to import that, that's on you. How you want to save is kind of an important setting here. Do you want to save every time you modify the file, or usually the default preference is on the editor closed, which means essentially you're working within Zetta. I open up Adobe Audition. I do all my edits. I essentially close Adobe Audition, which then saves the asset, which I'll show you in just a second, into Zetta. And then we attach the metadata associated with it. And that MDI setting, by the way, that's multiple document interface. It essentially tells Zetta the third-party editor is an application that has a child window that can reside within the main or parent window of the application. Nate, what the heck did you just say? What that means is if you ever had, let's say, a Zoom session or any of that, the online, GoToMeetings, Citrix, all that stuff, WebEx. I'm trying to be fair to everybody in the game here. But essentially, you know that when you share your screen, you have an option of what you want to share. Do you want to share the monitor, or if you want to share just a particular program on your monitor? So for example, I can tell you when you're sharing Zetta itself, when I open up this computer window, this is treated as essentially an MDI, a multiple document interface. So essentially when I'm sharing the screen, I can see the Zetta background. I can't see the computers. That checkbox just means that. Do you have a third-party editor that has multiple windows inside of it? That's all that means. For me, I've had no issues with MDI, so just leave it unchecked for me for Adobe Audition. So I'm going to close the computers, right? This is pre-configured. It might need an external services reboot. I have to remember the exact work there, but you should be good just to configure that, be good to go. At that point in time, I now have the option here for my edit media. And this is across the board. You'll notice, like if I double click, for example, on Maroon 5, that same edit media is found throughout the Zetta software, similar to that of the Audition icon. I have the multi-track editor, single track editor, but now I have Adobe Audition. And what you can do is if you're working within Zetta and Adobe Audition, right, you're kind of bouncing around back and forth. You can easily work within Adobe Audition. You can save your work. That gets assigned to an auto import location, usually on a public drive somewhere. That, of course, has an auto ingest with Zetta or an auto import. We see that file. We bring it in. We have an automatic marks analysis. We do the normalization post saving. We, of course, convert that to a default audio format, all that good stuff. If you're following along with me, but you got lost, there's a great video in our archive. That, of course, is rcsworks.com/rcs-live, or you can go to our main blog section, or, of course, here in the Facebook section. There is a video, Zetta Back to Basics, Importing and Exporting Audio. I believe that's where we talk about some of that auto import folder functionality there. But if you wanted to essentially work within Adobe Audition and Zetta live in real time, it's pretty cool. So, for example, I'm going to add a brand new asset here. I'm using my interviews because I just don't want to kind of put it and muck up my my songs, folder, if you will, asset type. First things first, we have to save the asset because we don't know in the Zetta world this asset has been created. I can't edit it until I save something. So this will be RCS live test, right? I can spell correctly. So at that point in time, I'm going to save this, right? So now Zetta knows this asset is in my system, right? We are good to go. At that point in time, I can edit my media, right? So this workflow could be kind of however you interpret it. Do you want to put the metadata first and then record the audio, or do you want to record the audio and then finish the metadata? No right or wrong answer there. From here, I'm going to open up my Adobe Audition. I'm going to click on that, and that should open up right here on this screen here. So this is my Audition, and what I can do here is now I can record all of my audio inside Audition, live in real time. And bear with me, of course, I have my Zetta open, I have recording software, I have the Facebook Live, so it's going to take a couple seconds here to load up. Normally not this slow. I totally acknowledge that. So here's my Adobe Audition. Of course, using my defaults, I can then record in here. Yes, I have it in mono just because I forgot to switch back over to stereo for my Focusrite. So there's my asset, talking live in real time. Now remember, this is where that important setting comes into play. Do I want to save it as I continue to modify the file? Or do I want to do all the work in here first and then close it? It's really a performance issue. Depending on how many users you have inside your Zetta database, what you're doing at the same exact time, it's really your choice. I found personally, I kind of like to record and work in this window first. And then when I'm done, I close it and save my changes. So again, just to show you here, I can work freely in Adobe Audition. I have everything in here, right? And at that point in time, when I close this, remember, my settings here is RCS live test.wave. I'm going to hit yes to here, and it's going to automatically populate over on the Zetta side. I have some settings in here that are kind of defined based on my my trim in, my trim out, marks analysis, and my segue point. So you can see here, that's where it is there. It's based on your settings. You might, tweak it a little bit based on how you want it to sound. Of course, I can always move things after the fact. So obviously this is just a quick little session here. I can just do a little new segue point there. Boom, we're good, we're done. Again, this is at this point in time is where I would go and set the metadata, right? So now I would go in here and set some certain things like any station specific settings, right? So I would essentially create the asset, give it a little save so it knows that this asset is created. I would either adjust the metadata here, switch over to Audition, record the asset, close and save, or I would just save it, open up Audition, record it, and go back to the metadata. Again, no right or wrong way how to do this. It's about your workflow. Once I save that, boom, this asset is created. It's in my library. I can double click on it. And there, of course, is my asset saved from Adobe Audition. Some cool stuff there, too. Any questions, let me know. Hey, Kat, how's it going? Danny, thank you for checking in as well. So that's kind of the first thing I want to show you because I haven't talked about that yet, integrating third-party audio editors. Now, let's talk about curating shows, right? We have, of course, shows and mini logs. What's the difference between a show and a mini log? It's very, very simple. Mini logs have timed stamped elements, specifically spot blocks, hour markers, and all of that good stuff. So you can see here, I have spot blocks, I have hour markers. If you have any sporting events, we use mini logs for that because we want to identify the traffic load and all of that good stuff. So again, the big difference between shows and mini logs have time stamped elements. Is there a right or wrong way? It's really up to you. You can do mini logs and not include timestamps. It really is up to you, right? So, for example, there is a setting here, just so you know, too. Configuration, stations. This is a station-specific setting. I'm going to use my RCS Hot AC here. I'm going to go to log settings, and you'll see there's log handling on mini log placement. What do you want to do here? If I take this mini log and drag it in, do I want to keep the existing event? So I have two events playing simultaneously. Usually you don't want to do that, just so you know, unless you have to. We have skip existing events. That's the default setting. Essentially, if I take this mini log, drag it into my normal log, it's going to skip the current elements that are there. However, we skip them so that you know if there's a case of emergency, for example, a baseball rainout, I can go back in there, skip the mini log, and go back to regularly scheduled programming. Or, of course, I can delete existing events. That's in there too. No right or wrong way. If you're doing best of shows, year-end countdowns, maybe delete existing events. You might turn it on, turn it off. It's really up to you. Or just mainly skip those elements. Or if you have G-Selector, you don't even have to have a clock scheduled, have a blank clock, or call for the log or whatever, and then drag the elements over. A lot of different ways you can do this. Remember, I always say with Zetta, we try not to pigeonhole you into a certain workflow. We want to understand how you interpret the software, and then we, of course, go from there. Very simply put, I have a show here. Let's create a brand new show, shall we? Hit the plus. I'm going to add a brand new piece of media. I'm going to go over here, make this nice and big. I'm going to call this Nate's year-end show, right? And again, I'm going to move that because I can definitely spell correctly. And again, this could be however you want it to be, right? So I can go to my songs. I can drag in a couple elements here, some Maroon 5, some Beyonce, some Drake. I can also pivot this, and I can go and bring in a fast car, Be All Right. I can take some sweepers in here, and I can do a whole bunch of stuff. Treat this as again, mini log or a show, drag and dropping elements into the show itself. I can also voice track using the metadata show and the mini logs as well. Great pro tip for you, right? End of the year, looking to claim some of that budget, especially with COVID. We have these year-end countdowns, these specialty programs. You heard me talk about this in the G-Selector holiday video. Essentially, for me, I tried to take that time to be perfectly honest with you, relax a little bit. Right? It's the end of the year. Things are kind of winding down. I don't want to schedule the normal, mini logs all those logs that I've programmed. So I tried to cheat a little bit by having a specialty show that I can put on repeat for specialty programming, saving me from having to go and schedule those logs themselves. Just a way to kind of cut some corners, but also maintain, additional programming. I'm a big believer in work smarter, not harder. So I have this show here, right? What if I had a show here and you wanted to have some added value for you and your clients? You have a number one client that you've had billing for the entire year. You want to give extra love. You have to find some alternative budgets for whatever it may be. You can use, if you want, a spot block inside the mini logs. That's going to respect your normal traffic load. So if you wanted just to maintain normal traffic scheduling while having specialty programming, you would have a mini log with, of course, spot blocks built inside of that. You can do segments, hour 1, 2, 3, 4. So hour one, segment one, hour two, segment three, hour four, segment one, stuff like that. Numerous ways you can do that. Again, if you have questions on how you want to build this, definitely reach out. I'll be more than happy to kind of point you in a couple different directions. But with added value, what if I have this? This is just a dry, sleek, new design Zetta sweeper. But what if I had a sweeper that was Nate's year-end show brought to you by, I'm going to pick on here, by DJ, right? Brought to you by DJ. So DJ, he loves to check out Facebook Live videos, right? There you go. That's the advertisement, right? You and I both know it's not going to be necessarily reconciled from traffic, but it's added value. Or you can actually just put it in there and sell the show itself. So you can sell the show and say, I have a best of show that best of 2020. It's going to get played 3 times in the week between Christmas and New Year's. And it's going to get a total of, 12 sweepers and identifiers. That's going to cost X amount of dollars. And you get that sales package, right? Again, unique ways how to sell this if you wanted to. So I can have a top of the hour built in, all that good stuff. Now, once I have the show curated, again, I can do it on the fly. I can drag stuff in, but I can essentially go here. And just like I would in a normal log, I have my segue editor and I have my voice tracker. I can record the voice tracker, make this nice and neat, nice and big. I can record my voice track here. So just a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There you go. I want to make sure I don't have any audio in there. Great. And I can, again, usual voice tracking thing. There's a video to voice tracking, the many faces of Zetta voice tracking. If you want to check out that video, I can, of course, go here, right click and remove that. I can go right click here, set a fade in, all this good stuff. I have videos covering that in the past. When I'm done, I can save this. And you'll notice that that voice track is now locked and linked to Beyonce voice track Take Care, right? I have the 1, 2, 3 here. At that point in time, when I drag this into the log itself, right now I have skipped events turned on. So if I take these elements here, I'm going to close that metadata show. You'll notice it saves automatically. I'll go back to my, I think I did shows, right? Nate's year-end show. I'll drag it over here just to after the spot block. And you'll see that it'll open up and it will copy over everything as is. And that includes my voice track as well. So if you find yourself having a show that's continuing, that you want the same voice tracks, I would go down this route. Again, mini logs, if you have spot blocks, they'll respect the spot block traffic load, or you just break it down into segments and you have segment 1, segment 2, segment 3, segment 4, all of that good stuff. Right? Makes sense, V? Makes sense? And of course, as I said, you can use shows or mini logs. So last minute for questions here. I just want to kind of get here within 30 minutes or so. So if you have any questions, let me know. Just to recap, talking about third-party integration with audio editors, configuration, go to computers. We essentially define that actual element here in the external editors. Ooh, pro tip. Where is my program, right? Nate, that's very confusing. Where's my program? How do I know where it is? What I do is I just right-click on my Adobe Audition, right? I then go to this little icon here, right-click on here, and then you'll see there's a properties window. I click on the properties, and I just literally copy and paste this guy right here, everything up to the EXE. Copy that, get rid of the quotes, put it in the program, boom. Super easy, super quick, work smarter, not harder, right? So that's a great way to find what the program is, where it's located. Again, it is computer specific. So if I'm on the file server, obviously I need to see Audition on that file server for it to work. So if you have a production machine, an on-air machine, you would go to each one of those individually and assign those audio editors from there, right? And then, of course, scheduling purposes, a lot of different ways. Reach out to me, reach out to RCS support. More than happy to help you there. And if you want to do some shows versus mini logs, I would tend towards the mini logs just because it's kind of like, that's how my brain operates. But if your brain operates on shows or you're already using shows, great. No problem there. They perform the same. Remember, the only difference, mini logs has timed, stamped elements if you choose to have those. Drag and drop it in, voice track accordingly. Boom, you got a best of show. Do all that good stuff. If you want to do it from the G Selector side of things, you can always create new assets, right? Remember, songs and links are linked to G Selector. I would have probably links, hit the little plus, record my break, save it. We're good to go. And of course, if you don't have Adobe Audition or Pro Tools or any of that good stuff, don't forget our good friend, the multi-track editor here in the modules. We can build some best of shows in here as well. If you wanted to have a true multi-track session with, again, let's say like 20 songs, some of those lines. And just in case you really, really want to do something here, those are essentially, as I said, they're let's say 30-minute segments. You have two 30-minute segments. In here, this is my element, right? These are all my files. Don't forget, you have cue points here at the bottom, and those cue points can have something like execute commands where they can do a custom. You can do certain things, and you could essentially put cue points in there that says trigger the now playing export, so that when I click here and I put in the cue point right there, it's going to play that function of, hey, change the metadata now playing export to show the song, and then keep going down the pipeline as well. So if you need to have the RDS metadata, you can do that here. Obviously, you need some kind of reconciliation if you want to know the song played in the G Selector side of things. You got to tell G Selector to play it somewhere in that mix as well. Right? Last call for questions. Danny, you good? DJ, you good? Patrick, you good? Last minute questions? If not, I will see you next Thursday, as always, part of our RCS Live series. Don't forget, we want to see your photos working from home, beta users for Zetta 520.1 and G Selector 490, Zetta Cloud-Based Disaster Recovery, and the archive, rcsworks.com/rcs-live. Checking once, checking twice. Awesome. Have a great day, everybody. A great weekend. Be safe. Wear your mask, all that good stuff. And I will see you next Thursday. Bye-bye.